Welcome back to the PowerShell Validate series. We are going to be looking at validating a pattern in this video. So this time we're going to be looking at a regular expression pattern that involves a string. It involves a combination of a string, dash, and then of course a number. And we're going to notice some things, and then we're going to look in the next video as how to do a combination. But in this one, we're going to just simply write out the host of the regex pattern pass, and we're going to pass in this combination as you see. So this is the specific one we're looking at. You'll notice that all of the other parameters here are false, so we're going to be skipping over those. Which for those of you who may have stumbled across this video, that's one of the ways in which you can make a parameter not be required, so we don't have to pass it in. So the first one should fail because it does not follow any dash or any number. The second and third should pass. We'll notice that the rest of these pass except for this last one here, and that is because we are not setting any requirement for length. So when we go ahead and execute this, the first one, as we know, is going to fail because it doesn't match the pattern, and by the way, this is the error we would see. But we'll notice the next pass, and then of course we see like the AA-41 pass. That is because it actually does follow that pattern. Since we're not specifying anything before the A through Z, and we're not specifying anything for the decimal, or the digit, I should say, the one digit, anything can follow and anything can come before as long as it's there. And even in the case of the sentence where it's like, hey guys, dash 41, 28, 56 hat hike, actually the dash, since there's no spaces, that also is going to pass. The reason why the latter one doesn't is because we have a space here. So since the regex pattern does not include spaces, this is of course going to fail. So this is how we can specify a pattern. So let's say we were trying to pass in an email or a URL or whatnot, we could define rules for our email or URLs. And we want to be careful. This question came up to me recently, and in fact, I'll go ahead and I'll do typing in a live demo or in a YouTube video. But one of the things that was brought up to my attention on URLs, a lot of people will do a URL. One second, I'm going to turn the mic this way. Since I know some of you said you can't hear, they'll assume either HTTPS or HTTP, stuff like that, like this. In reality, a lot of times you'll see links like this, right? In fact, short links are something that happens a lot, right? So you could, if you want, you could go ahead and validate on the HTTPS. If I'm going to do a link validation, because of the way links work, what I'm really looking at is the fact that there is a character before a period, and then there's a character following a period. To my knowledge, no domain that I'm aware of only is one character, though I do believe domains can have numbers in them. Maybe not, but I know URLs can have numbers in them. In fact, URLs can have Mandarin symbols in them, if you know Mandarin. So, but if I'm validating a link, I'm going to be looking more at the link.com / like this syntax specifically here, and I'm only highlighting this. We see this is more of a rule that I would expect. Of course, a lot of people, and this would be a valid claim, they say, well, Tim, how would you do something like if somebody wrote a sentence like, do not go pass? I mean, people have such bad English nowadays, or they have such bad rules, even in grammar. And it's true, you may end up getting more, but if I were to say a rule like this right here, let me highlight that again. But if I were to define a rule by the HTTPS, or even the www, there's just so many people that don't link sites that way. In fact, anytime I get emails from friends, like if they're sending me a link to their site, they'll be like, hey, visit my website at, my website, dot something, like TV, like that, and usually without the slash. So even the slash I can't, predict. So it just depends on what you're looking for and how precise you want to be on that. Now, if you want to only filter for HTTPS because you don't trust anything that's not, then yes, by all means do the HTTPS. And that is true. I mean, the problem with a bit.ly link, going back to that, like this, well, we don't know if that's secure, right? And I mean, we don't necessarily know, especially with all the viruses nowadays that you can get from just clicking on a link. We really don't even know if that could potentially have a virus, right? It depends on what we're doing. So just keep that in the back of your mind when it comes to regular expression patterns. Is there are so many different rules the more you look, especially for URLs, and even with emails, at least it follows a pattern. There's got to be an @ symbol. We know that. There's going to be some characters, and then there's going to be a dot. and then there's going to be some characters, or a domain, I should say. And so that one's a little easier to do, but with URLs, it does get a little tricky.